In this chat, I spoke with Joey Edward Kufeld. He's a martial arts teacher, he's a DJ, and he's a musician. Whatever you end up listening to of this talk between us, I hope that you can enjoy and benefit from.
I'm good. Great to hear from you.
Cool.
Thanks for having me on your program.
Yeah. Your experience with DJing, how has that has that shifted your mind state at all about life? Does it change how you approach life at all, or not really?
Yeah, I mean, I would say most things I do kind of have that impact inevitably, but yeah, DJing in particular is funny because, like they always say, like don't judge a book by its cover. But DJing kind of forces you to do that because, like, I'm doing like mostly like private events and stuff, so it's kind of like I'm people watching most of the time. So you're very and also just in terms of going back to the moment, like if I'm doing a wedding, it's like a 5-hour event, sometimes 7 hours. And it's like my job is to just make that 7 hours as, clean, as tight as possible, as nice, as enjoyable event as possible for all the guests there. So yeah, it kind of made me really appreciate the moment and the impact we have on it in that sense. But
do you feel like it's made you a more receptive individual as far as...
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%, because you have to... Yeah, I could go on days with that, but yeah, definitely, because you're always reading the room, and like say like the bride will have like this one special song that she wants or whatever, and you have this whole like 3 songs set up, and you're building it all up to get the bride all stoked, and then right as you're about to play the song, the photographer takes the bride out of the room, and then you have to like re-scrap everything you just did. So yeah, you have to be very, very much in the moment, which is what I love about it. Very similar to fighting in that regard. You have to stay very centered and focused on the present moment.
So like when the things aren't going according to plan with like the actual wedding plans and how things are going to go and how your music is going to sync up to that, how do you not get like frustrated and stay present and flexible? What is your mindset kind of like in that kind of moment?
I mean, I love that you're asking that, because that was like the first thing I learned getting into this business is just events in general. Like if you're going to be a performing musician or just anything like that, something that you cannot expect to go wrong will go wrong. Mm-hmm. And that is just inevitable. Like there will be something that you cannot anticipate that will occur, and you just have to be ready for that. And I was taught very early on that professional just deals with it. So that's kind of like the label of the professional of any endeavor, I think. It's just, whatever happens, but you make it to the finish line, Yeah. And then also just accepting the fact that we're all human. Like I find, at least with like musical performances, people appreciate when it's raw. Like if it's a little rough around the edges and it's not perfect, your mix isn't perfect, like people actually, I think, appreciate that because it feels very visceral and live. And I think as just a performer in general, in any regard, like when you kind of start embodying that, like I do a lot of piano performances. And so it kind of carries over in that, where the pianists are always like hold themselves at this insane standard that they'll really never reach. And it's kind of hard to watch them. I'm like, dude, be easy on yourself. Like you did great, Yeah. Like you make a couple of mistakes. That's fine. That's all good. That's what we're here for, So I find that the mistakes become more relatable. So anyway, so I'm rambling here. But,
no, it's actually right on target with what I wanted to talk about. It's incredibly in sync. So for you, is from like an internal standpoint, is it just a matter of like noticing that the situation is like not going as you had previously imagined or expected, and you just make some shifts? Or do you have like some kind of like, do you have to like talk yourself through like becoming more flexible, like getting out of your own rigidity or anything like that? Or how does that, I don't know, maybe I'm getting too mental here for you, but yeah.
No, I love it. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect, but I love these kind of questions. It's all mental. Yeah, no. So I really appreciate you asking these. questions. It kind of forces me to kind of think about, well, yeah, what am I thinking about here? But yeah, I would say it's taken over the course of years doing this, like over the past 10 years, just kind of developing that looseness, because in the past I would have like, I would almost plan everything out. I would plan the whole 3-hour dance party out in order. And then if it didn't start to go right and people aren't liking the music, I'm like, oh crap, I'm like dead in the water here. I'm screwed. So nowadays it's all about just planting seeds early in the night, like reading the room. I'm always kind of like drawing information from guests, like as I'm playing song, like, okay, they're kind of reacting this way, but also being free to just completely, pivot on a dime. Like say I play a song that I think in my heart, this is going to kill. People are going to love this song. And I play it and it just kills the dance party. Like everyone's just like, nope. And they just walk off. So you have to check your own ego in that moment. Just be like, okay, all right, that didn't work. And then just try something new. Just move forward. It's just about that forward progression. Like even like last weekend, I accidentally hit the Q button. I don't know if you ever mess around with the DJ units, but the Q button is basically the play button, but you just like hit play at a certain spot. And so I accidentally hit the Q button on the song I was currently playing for the party. And so I just stopped the song. And it was like, right, I think it was like, tonight's going to be a good night. Tonight's going to be a good. And it just stops and everyone goes, hey, what the hell? And then I just had to like, in that moment, stay calm and just be like, all right, I think I was around a minute 30, hit minute 30 and hit play. And people are just like, hey, and they just go back to partying. Because, at the end of the day, people just want to have a good time. It really just boils down to confidence and kind of like what you were saying, like, it's like you have to be receptive to what everyone wants. You want to make sure everyone's having a good time, but you also have to take the role of like the leader where you're kind of guiding everyone through that. Because if you lose that, you'll lose control real quick. Not that you ever really have control, but you are the one kind of gauging the energy for that party.
Yeah. So then is it important for you to maintain like a good mood in general? I guess we're kind of already talking about that, but like, do you have to like try to prepare your mind state before you do that kind of an event, or are you someone that's like already loose and in the present moment at all times in your life?
No, yeah, again, great question. I'd say like, especially with weddings, when I do a wedding, my prep, like say the wedding starts on Saturday, my preparation honestly mental preparation starts like that Monday. So it's like really like the Wednesday before I'm like locked in, and that Thursday and Friday I'm like kind of almost entirely like just focused on the event. So it's really a lot more than just the event. Like I always tell people, like I'm not really getting paid to DJ. The event is a blast. It's fun. I get paid to prepare and show up and set up equipment and tear down equipment. Other than that, it's a blast. But yeah, a lot of mental preparation, a lot of like if this then that, like your question about affecting mental state. Funny enough, I would say the thing that I noticed the most dramatic impact on my mental state is actually, of all things, chess. Like I'll just play chess for fun, and I noticed that chess in particular, it just allows my brain to take different pathways than it normally would. Like, okay, if this happens, then maybe this. And if this happens, then maybe this. And it's the same thing like with DJing and stuff. Like, you want to kind of have like a few plans of attack. Like, you don't want to just be stuck with one option. You kind of want to have to like, well, maybe if I get like, for instance, you get to a party and like it happened a few weekends ago, like you get to the party and they want nothing but 70s and 80s. They want like rock. They want Def Leppard. I'm literally going off of a request list that I had recently. But then I get there and the groom's family is all Peruvian and they want cumbia and they want salsa. So I have to like pivot on a dime and kind of like make that happen. But then also make sure the bride's happy too. So that's kind of the number one is especially with these events. But
that's wild.
Yeah, sorry. Stop me if I start rambling here.
No. It's awesome. One thing I wanted to talk about you, like my projection on you and memory on you is one of you, at the very least, having the ability to be very playful and spontaneous. This is kind of to some degree in accordance with what we're talking about here, but do you have like a I guess you've already kind of mentioned it all, but do you have anything more to say on like remaining playful in the moment and being able to be spontaneous? Or I mean, you kind of already touched on it a lot, right? Through what you've already said.
Yeah, on that, I would just say being grateful is
Okay.
very important there. Like, not like I have the opportunity to go be a part of these people event, to bring good energy, to be, a positive in these people's lives. And so reminding myself of that, like, these people chose me for this event. Like, I'm honored to be here. It's going to be a great time. I'm excited. So it's like always reminding myself of that. And also there's been times where it's like I've done events where, like, because I get really nervous before the event. Like, anyone who says like they don't get nervous, it's kind of like, I don't personally relate to that. I get very nervous, and if I don't feel nervous, I know something's kind of up. So I've kind of learned to embrace the nerves there. And also I've had events where it's like I got 30 minutes of sleep. Like, I had nothing in the tank, and those are some of my best events I've ever had. So I've learned from those experiences over time to just kind of embrace whatever happens, do whatever I can to kind of prep my energy level. Like, a lot of it, like you're saying, it really is all about energy preparation, or conservation, I should say, because really I need to like maintain my energy to the dance party, and then I got to maintain that energy for about 4 hours and be like the life of the party, because really the reality I've found is, it's like, if you're DJing, people want to, you have to be enjoying it. Like, even if you're playing a killer set, like, if you're just sitting there just like, ugh, whatever, people can read that energy and they're like, oh,
sure.
he doesn't really seem like he's that into it. But if you're feeling it, they're going to feel it too. So I've learned that you kind of have to allow yourself to get into it.
Cool. I think I want to see if I can take the conversation to one last direction and see if you're willing to talk about like imagination. Like, what is imagination? What role does it play in your life? Like, does it have any importance for you? If so, how does it function or affect you, or how do you use it? It's kind of a curveball.
I love these questions. No, I mean, imagination has honestly always been one of my favorite things in life. Like, it's funny because you were saying, like, memory of me in high school as being very playful. Like, I don't know if you remember Paul at all, but that was like me and Paul's favorite game was we would just play what if, basically. And we would just be like, what if this? Well, then maybe this. And if that, then maybe this. And then if that, well, then possibly this. And we would just create an entire imaginary world between the two of us. And like, the other people in the lunchroom would be like, what the hell are they talking about? Like, I don't know. They're in their own little world right now, So, imagination, and being an only child too. Like, I've always just had a kind of relied on my imagination for entertainment. And even as I get older, I realize, like, I'm just as addicted to my phone as the next guy. But I realize how fortunate I was growing up with that imagination, because, like, even to get into DJing, a lot of my time, I didn't have TV growing up, so I would listen to CDs. So it's like a lot of music became, each song is like this projected imaginary movie, like, that I see whenever I hear the songs. Sometimes those songs change. Like, I don't know if that's your experience with music, but like, anytime I hear "You Are the Sunshine of My Life" by Stevie Wonder, I see a specific movie.
Wow.
Like, I don't know if that's for other people, but it's like the movie starts, and then so like for DJing, it's like I get to then, it's like every song is like its own little gem to me. So it's like I get to then share it, and like I almost feel like one of those guys on the side of on the sidewalk, just like showing off his little gemstones. Like, hey, check out what I got. Look what I collected over the past year. But yes, anyways, there's a lot of imagination tied to most things I do, which I think in general is key. Like, I even found that with going to martial arts. I briefly touched on that, but that was always like my key factor with training and developing, is like, you have to be able to see yourself doing it before you can do it. And it's all just being able to work your imagination. And I always felt that was something that a lot of athletes kind of didn't quite grasp the importance of that,
Yeah, being able to pre-visualize yourself accomplishing a particular outcome. Is that what you're implicating or talking about?
Yeah. It just in general, just that visualization, so that imagination becomes just an incredible tool just in life in general. Being able to harness it. And like the events I was talking about earlier, like before every event, I lay there for like 30 minutes to an hour and just try and visualize from driving in to parking to like opening up my car, every little detail you can possibly imagine. Just like, okay, loading in, where am I going to plug in my cords? How many cords do I need, et cetera? Like just planning all that in your head. So that way when you get there, it's just like,
yeah,
you've already done it before.
You've already done it. That's pretty incredible. One last thing is for being physically active, like through your martial arts, what for you, what's the importance of being like fit and strong as a like on your body, and then like maybe what is the dynamics between body and mind, how the fitness and the strength of the body affects the mind, and then in turn perhaps the strength of the mind affecting the body, like the mind disciplining the body, etc., to continue persistent physical exercise. What's your kind of philosophy around that? Yeah.
I mean, again, excellent question. It's definitely changed over the years. Like for martial arts and strength training, I guess in general, it kind of started. I was kind of small, skinny kid. I got bullied when I was little, started around like 4 or 5. So I had kind of that. What happens with I think a lot of people who kind of get physically bullied, you kind of develop that chip on your shoulder. So I always trained for the sake of like, I don't want to feel powerless again. I don't want to feel bullied. I would get like held by kids older than me. Like I'd be like 5 or 6 and I'd be held by like a 12-year-old and he would just like hold me down. And so, as a kid, you don't want to have that. So, that became a main part of my focus in training was just don't let another person kind of pin you down and make you feel powerless. And then as I got older, I got more into it, you just keep doing it and it becomes kind of a way of life. And then you start passing it forward. Like when I turned 15 to 18 is when I started teaching. So I started teaching it and teaching martial arts and stuff. And then you kind of have to, live up to your own hype. You don't want to just be like teaching it for the sake. You kind of want to live it. You want to stand behind whatever you're teaching. So it kind of forced me to double down on my training so that I could be pushing forward good stuff. And then from that, my focus was always kind of like, especially if I saw other kids getting bullied, because I was teaching a lot of kids, people of all ages, but especially if people are getting bullied, I'd really really kind of double down on that and really try and help those people out in any way I can. But yeah, in general, yeah, it kind of started out as like more anti-bullying measure. I would say, honestly, just like anger management, if I'm being real. Growing up, just being able to manage emotions. And then as I get older, it's just fun. It's just like you feel better when you work out. If I don't work out, I definitely feel the difference in my body. So there's definitely that mind body connection. So it helps me kind of stay centered and focused. Talking about control and emotion keeps you, very centered in that regard. You're not as likely to go off the rails or, be carried off with your emotion. Like that's why I fell in love with just hitting the bags and boxing and that stuff. Like I have zero interest in hurting anybody or punching anyone, but just the act of hitting a punching bag is a very spiritual cleansing experience that I think a lot of people don't understand how potent, a sedative it could be,
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah. That's great that you found methodologies that work for you and help you to just be a better human in the world and help others. So that's a beautiful thing. And yeah, man, it's been good chatting with you. It's been good to hear your voice. You are very cool and interesting.
Yeah, you too, man.
Yeah, thanks for answering all my questions. And thanks for your
time.
time.
Anytime, dude. Yeah. No, thank you for doing this. I appreciate the question.
Yeah. Peace, man.
Peace.
The links to both the Instagram and YouTube accounts of Joey can be found in the description box below this video.
Thank you for listening to the Blue Keyboard Podcast. Please have a nice day.